will decide our own fate.
5 years after Simi was swept out of Okunwo in disgrace, Simi returned. She came quietly, not as the shamed widow the villagers remembered, but as a stranger no one recognized. Her skin glowed with health, her figure fuller, her face sharper, her beauty deeper. She had traded in different towns and carried herself like someone who had seen the world. She entered the village as a humble trader, selling colorful plastics, basins, and kitchen goods from a wooden cart. Her smile was warm, and she spoke kindly to everyone, but she kept a careful distance from those who had known her best. To them, she was just another passing merchant. Over the weeks, she began to visit certain homes. It was the homes of women she remembered from before, women who had survived the 7 days. Some avoided her at first, carrying a silent shame. Others listened, but would not speak of their time in the widow's room. Simi pressed gently, telling them it was not their fault. The guilt was not theirs. The fault lay with the man who used the sacred ritual as a trap. Many shook their heads, still afraid. She told them their silence was a danger. If they kept quiet, their daughters might one day face the same evil. Even if the high priest was gone, another man could take his place and do worse. Slowly, the fear in their eyes began to change into something else. It was anger. Her visits became more frequent, but she told them not to share her plans. The day of action had to come without warning. When the time came, no one would stand alone. When that day arrived, it began like any other. By afternoon, women poured into the village square, more and more joining until it was a tide of voices. They came from every corner: widows, married women, even young women who had never been married but knew the injustice well. The air was thick with shouts, not of grief, but of defiance. It was the largest gathering Okunwo had ever seen, of women united for one cause. They spoke of grief doubled by cruelty, of the darkness in the widow's room, of how it crushed not only bodies but spirits. Then, in the swelling noise, some began to recognize Simi. Whispers turned to pointing fingers. That's her, the one who killed her husband. She's here to poison more women against their men. The men of the village tried to push through the crowd to seize her, but they were met with a wall of women. Sticks, stones, and bare hands blocked the way. Simi stood in the middle, her voice clear above the noise.
We will not be victims any longer. We will decide our own fate.
The riot spread to the high priest's compound. His walls were torn down, his possessions smashed, his house set ablaze. Smoke curled into the sky as he ran, but the men of the village caught him and dragged him back. The elders were divided. Some spat, saying the women were out of control and would soon come to their senses. Others looked at the sheer number of them and knew this was not a passing madness. Something deep had been stirred. The high priest called Simi a liar again, shouting that she had killed her husband and now sought revenge. But the noise was too loud. The people demanded judgment. In the end, the elders ordered the priest to stand trial before the gods. The rule was simple. If you lied under oath to the gods, death would follow swiftly. The priest's face paled. He stalled, tried to speak over the decision, but the crowd surged, and the men held him fast. Realizing there was no escape, he tried to run again, but he was caught, bound, and beaten until his voice broke into screams. It was then, bloodied and panting, that he confessed. He told them he had used the widow's trial to take women for himself. Those who refused, he killed. Some men, he admitted, he poisoned, just so he could get their wives into the room. Gasps rose from the crowd. Women wept openly. Men cursed him. When the last of his words faded, the elders stripped him of his title and declared him unfit to serve. He was dragged away to face punishment beyond the village. He was dragged away by the local police. That same day, the elders announced the end of the widow's trial. The custom was gone. The women lifted Simi onto their shoulders, singing her name. She had come back from shame to free them all. Even those who had once called her guilty now joined in the song. Her banishment was lifted. She could return to her husband's house. As the noise of celebration faded, she walked alone through the doorway she had not seen in 5 years. Dust lay thick on the floor, but the walls were the same. Her hands touched the rough clay, and memories came rushing back. Ade's laughter filling the room, the sound of the children playing outside, the smell of their evening meals. She stood in the silence, tears sliding down her cheeks. She had not been able to save him, but she had saved countless others, and in that moment, in the stillness of her home, Simi knew her fight had been worth it.